Hey, do you want cupcakes that disappoint you because they're not actually cupcakes? These are them.
For the frosting, we're going to be using a base of avocado, a chocolate peanut butter protein, peanut butter powder, a little bit of almond milk, some chocolate pudding mix, and some syrup. For the base of the cupcake, we're going to be using some chocolate protein, cocoa powder, salt, cinnamon, flour, baking powder, egg. We're going to use some sweetened flavored chocolate drops, half a banana, and some sweet potato. We're going to start with all of our dry ingredients in the bowl. So first up is flour, chocolate protein powder, some salt and cinnamon, then the cocoa powder, baking powder, and lastly some pudding mix. Gonna mix that all around and then we're gonna put it to the side. For our wet ingredients, we're gonna start with the eggs. We're gonna separate the yolks from the whites. Once we have them separated, we're gonna set the whites to the side and put all the rest of the wet ingredients in with the yolks. First we're gonna put our bananas in and the sweet potatoes. For the sweet potatoes, you just want to cook them in the oven. I put them in at about 400 for about 35 minutes until they're nice and soft. Then I just put in some of the flavor drops and a little bit of the sugar-free syrup. You can mix this all up, and then once you do that, we're gonna start beating our egg whites until they have stiff peaks. Alright, so it only took me forever to whip these, but I've got an amazing egg white right here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix our wet ingredients with the powder, and then lastly we're gonna fold in the egg whites delicately so that we don't break all these nice peaks that I just worked out for.
I put a little bit of almond milk and a little bit of syrup in just to thin it out. And then from here we're going to fold in our egg whites into our batter. This is what the folding looks like. You're just going to kind of literally fold it over itself so that we're not destroying the peaks that we made in the egg whites. It's going to help keep it nice and fluffy.
Alright, so this is all incorporated and you can see those little fluffy pockets from the egg whites that we put in. And that's what we wanted right here. I'm just going to line my muffin tin with a little bit of coconut oil just so nothing sticks too bad. And I'm going to hopefully be getting maybe like 6 to 8 of these.
If you don't want to use coconut oil, you can just use like a cooking spray instead. I just wanted to because YOLO.
Well, that's in the oven. We're going to work on the frosting, which is going to be some avocado. Next in is the peanut butter powder, some of our chocolate peanut butter protein powder, a little bit more pudding mix, and then we're just going to use some almond milk and syrup for the liquids. Alright, so the cupcakes just got out of the oven. They're looking pretty good, and I'm just going to let them cool off for a little while. Over here we have the frosting. I just mixed everything up and then used the almond milk and a little bit of syrup to make it into a runny kind of batter. But remember, there's pudding mix in here, so we're going to go put this in the fridge now, and it's going to set and it's going to thicken up a little bit, and then we will coat the cupcakes in a little bit. So here's the final product of the cupcakes. I ended up using a different frosting because the avocado tasted kind of gross. I then topped with some strawberry slices, and I used half a piece of 72% dark chocolate, and I just kind of cut it up, shaved it on there, and they turned out fantastic. The frosting I ended up redoing, so this is what I ended up using. I used half a scoop of the protein and a serving of the peanut butter with a little bit of water until I got a nice little frosting consistency, and here we are.
Just a heads up, this frosting that I did make, it tastes a lot like protein, but the other one tasted like avocado, so.
The cupcakes were moist and delicious, not too sweet. And then the frosting had a little bit of a proteiny taste, but it was still pretty good. I'm gonna work on that recipe and try and get a better protein frosting. So my favorite part about these, this batter is how versatile it is. You can literally substitute any ingredients you want. You can use pumpkin instead of sweet potato. You don't have to use banana. You can use applesauce. You can use squash. You can use pretty much anything. If you don't have an ingredient, you can just use something else. So I'm just gonna cut one in half so you can kind of see what we're working with. The whipping of the egg whites, I think, really made a big difference. Oh yeah. They're nice and fluffy and light, airy, delicious. That's a good cupcake. I'll also put the macros for the cupcakes, for just the batter without the frosting. We're gonna revisit that frosting recipe and get something that tastes as good as it looks.